Jnanatimirandasya Jnanam Charam Sharakare Chakshur Tasmai Shivare Namo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Prachachari Shatarini Vanchakalpa Tarubhya Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jayu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhattavrinda Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There are three influences which are described in the Bhagavad Gita, which are Sattva, goodness, Raja, patience, and Tamaguna, ignorance. And according to what a person, the way a person is influenced by special gunas, he will express good or bad qualities. In the Bhagavad Gita, both are described, the divine and the asuric nature. Why divine? Because goodness enables us to understand the Supreme Lord and the nature of the soul. When we understand that we are the soul and we engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord, that's the real nature of the living being. And when the soul is pure, of course, we become a pure devotee, liberated from the material conception of existence. But when we identify as a devotee of the Supreme Lord, what does it mean to be identified as? Means we can't be any other thing than a servant of the Supreme Lord, then it's divine nature. And through this divine nature, qualities appears like tolerance, humility, respect, compassion, and so on. All the good qualities manifest. Why? Because they are in relation with the Supreme Lord. When we have a relation with the Supreme Lord, all the qualities which are here in Him manifest in a partial version, like at some degree in us. Whereas the more we go away from the Supreme Lord, who's like a fire, the more the little sparkle will lose its fire nature. In the Jaiva Dharma, we take the example of the water. When the water is meant to be liquid, but it's its nature, but with the cold it becomes solid. In the same way, when you lose your contact with the Supreme Lord, all your qualities become reverse. Instead of being humble, you are proud, you want to have your kingdom with the people you love, the people you don't. You change the whole structure of the universe. This is the demonic nature, and you reject existence of the soul and of God, and you want to perform rituals which are your own, and it's all a nonsense which comes to pollute the divine society. And that's what's happening right now. If you look, we are in a state where they rejected God. Why? Because actually in this Kali Yuga, the demonic nature also appear as religious people. It's explained in Garuda Purana. In the Brahmana family, the demon take birth. That's why this caste system appeared in India. Originally, there's the Dharma, Varnashram Dharma exists eternally. So Krishna brings it this world. So the living beings, according to their birth and their qualities, they can engage in their service. But with the appearances of Kali Yuga, the system of Varna
ils se sont complètement corrompus.
completely has been completely corrupted, and the demons, demonic beings, they use it to exploit others instead of serving the Supreme Lord. So naturally, what did the people do? It happened in real different degrees through Catholics and so on and so on. It went everywhere. If we look Middle Age, how was the church was corrupted, inventing instrument of torture. It's explained a good pope had to invent an instrument of torture, and this instrument was to take out the sin from the sinner. And so this deviation, it's so the people, when they face all this, they thought God is bad, and they rejected God. So that's what we call Kali, age of Kali, age of hypocrisy. Why? Because the beings are influenced by passion and ignorance, and in it we find qualities like intoxication, illicit sex life, playing, gambling, killing living beings to be fed. There's no compassion. So the living beings, they manifest in their heart bad qualities. And because of this, when they unite, their progeny take birth with the same consciousness. And that's why, naturally, the more this age is going on, and the less the living beings they have a spiritual consciousness. And what's interesting, it's prophesied before Krishna left this universe to go in another one to perform his pastimes. Ganga approached the Supreme Lord. She came in her personal form, and she said, "Lord, I know you will close your pastime very soon, and I'm very much afraid because those sinners will let their sin in my water." And Krishna told her, "Do not have fear, Ganga, because I will come back and I will manifest a golden age in this Kali Yuga. And all the good virtue will come back." So it's prophesied that this golden age would appear 500 years after the disappearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it should start in 2035, and it will last for 10,000 years. So it means it will have a peak where the Satya Yuga will be manifested and people will be pious. Because according to the age, this demonic nature and this divine nature manifest in a different way. And the scripture explains that in the Satya Yuga, it's not in the same...
Et au fur des âges, ils ont commencé à apparaître sur les mêmes planètes, etc. Et à la fin, l'âge de Kali, les deux tendances sont dans l'être vivant.
So it's explains that bad tendency and good tendency at first they were not appearing in the same planet, and little by little they come in the same planet, and now it's in the good in one living being, those two nature. And but we can awake our eternal nature to being a devotee of the Lord. But it's something very difficult in this age, because there is two which live in the heart of the living beings. Bhukti and Mukti. The desire, which is to accept God, but not the pure devotional service. That's what we call the fruitive action in the first place. We want God, but for material goods. We want paradise. It means we want a heavenly existence, but not necessarily with him. He's like a person who gives, but we don't want to be directly in his kingdom. Those texts do not talk about the form of the Supreme Lord, his name, his attributes in past times. They consider him as very far away. And they want to reach a place to have sex life which is allowed and which brings the greatest happiness. Because on heavenly planets, there are women of an extreme beauty, and we also have an extreme beauty and a great span of life, and there's no sickness, and we can enjoy and enjoy. But we are in those planets just for the time of the pious action performed, and after we have to come back on this planet. So this is fruitive action. And the second thing is mukti. We want to be freed, but without relation with the Supreme Lord. We want no suffering, but happiness without the Supreme Lord. So those two things exist in a very large manner in Kali Yuga. That's why, by his will, Krishna, through the Veda, he creates platforms for the living beings to come towards this devotional service little by little. They accept fruitive action, understanding that Vishnu gives the fruit of action, and they accept to be liberated, knowing that Vishnu is the giver of the liberation. So little by little they come to accept God. For example, in all the Kali Yuga, the Buddha appears. And what does he do? Because all this in all the Kali Yuga, when the people, they use Veda to do animal sacrifices and do these bad actions in a wrong way, he rejects the Veda and is giving ahimsa for the people to progress. So the Lord is giving different means for the people to progress. But the ultimate goal is that the Lord has name, a form, and associates, and the eternal goal is to have a relation with Him. But some people, they say the goal is to gratify our senses, or to melt, to do not have existence anymore. So even though many people, they follow the Supreme Lord, different goals are being given, but because he is in this path, gradually, life after life, it gives to the living being to accept his reality, and that's the mercy. After millions of existence, a Jnani, the one who has impersonal conception, can understand this truth. Because it's difficult to change. It's difficult. Because this conditioned nature, which covers us completely, we think we are this false reality, and because of this, we have to act. We are pushed to act with this consciousness. I'm this body. Those people have a link with me. Whereas at the moment of death, everybody disappears. Children, wealth, attachment for a place, everything disappears. At the moment of death, everything is taken. But because of this attachment, we don't have the strength to accept our reality. That's why it takes lives and lives. But what's important to understand is that the time is an illusory form, because the soul is not submitted to it. So after all those lives, when we realize our eternal position, everything is erased. because we accept our eternity and it's as if we had never been separated from it. When someone sees the Supreme Lord in his eternal form, he realizes what's the eternal time. Before this, he can't understand due to the attachment of his relation. When a devotee meditates on the Supreme Lord, there's different levels. But when he is called by the Lord and enters in his abode, in his eternal form, it's reality. Before, everything is a kind of shadow. That's another subject. And there's many traps in devotional service. We can think we are pure devotee, liberated. We can think we are so many things. Only when the experience is completely pure, one can understand all the other steps. Otherwise, it's not possible to escape to the trap. It's impossible. That's why Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained in the 10th canto that it's the presence of Krishna. When someone has to come back to the Lord, he has this pure experience and then he can understand everything and avoid all the traps. Otherwise, it's impossible. That's why when Krishna says this, at least the Guru must be at this level. That's the minimum. Because he can't understand the transcendental plane. Otherwise, what he experiments is at some level. And the traps are still there, because identification to the body is still there. Because even the meditation is at some level. And when one reaches Bhav, and we accept our eternal body, it's no more in imagination then. But before, it's as a reflection of our reality. And it's important, this meditation, because it will enable us to be absorbed in the name, whereas before we were thinking of so many things while chanting, we were making offenses, because the Lord is not, the holy name is not different from the Lord. So if you chant while calling the Lord while thinking of something else, it's as if I call Cedric, and when he's looking at me, I look somewhere else. So that's why when we chant, we have to understand the name is not different from Krishna. Otherwise, the chanting has no effect. It can't be a cause of purification and feelings. If you chant, thinking the name is different, then you chant, but you don't have the attention toward the coming of the Lord, and He can't be revealed. He calls me, but actually when I come, He ignores me. You understand? So if you chant in this way, you can't have the experience of Krishna. And at some point you can stop. It has no effect. That's why there is no taste. That's why it's difficult to chant. Because actually when you chant without faith. And when we chant with faith, all the reactions of our past actions are destroyed, and our feeling gradually will manifest with the time, eternal time. But we need at least the faith. That's the minimum level. Before it's Kanishta Bhakta. It's a reflection of a devotee. If you do not chant at Shradana Babhas without faith, then you can't be identified to be a devotee at least. Give your life, have feelings, have faith in the mission, in the devotees, in the acharyas, in the books, scriptures, which comes directly from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. It's not possible.
Et naturellement,
And naturally,
quand on chante sans
when
foi,
one chants without faith,
ça devient difficile
it
la vie
becomes
dévotionnelle. Très
difficult
difficile.
devotional life, very
Parce qu'au
difficult,
lieu
because
de
instead of
développer les
developing
désirs spirituels,
spiritual desires,
vous développez des
you
désirs
develop
matériels.
material desires,
Et donc vous
and
perdez le
so you
goût, en
lose
fait,
the taste.
pour être avec les dévots.
To
Ça
be with
devient
devotees,
difficile.
it becomes
Se
difficult.
lever
To get up,
pour écouter une classe,
to
on dort tout le
listen
temps.
lecture, we always sleep.
Et on est plutôt intéressé
And we are more
à faire de la
interested
politique,
to do politics,
à avoir une position.
have a position.
Donc ça ressemble étrangement
So
à la nature démoniaque.
this looks like demonic
C'est-à-dire qu'elle est
nature.
encore présente.
So it means it's still
Donc on
present
peut
here.
avoir un habit religieux,
So we can
mais
have a
avoir
religious clothes but have another
un autre but
goal
que l'amour,
than love,
la position.
the position.
Et c'est pour ça qu'on voit tant
That's
de
why we
déviations
see so many
avec la
deviations
religion.
with religion,
Bien que
even
tout
if
vient du même Seigneur,
everything comes from the same
il faut
Lord.
une séparation.
They make a separation.
C'est mon Dieu, le
This
tien
is
est
my
faux.
God, yours is false.
Ici, c'est pas le même Krishna.
Here is not the same
C'est pas le
Krishna.
même Prabhupada.
It's not the same Prabhupada.
On n'ira jamais dans leur temple.
We'll never go in their temple.
Ça, c'est la mentalité démoniaque.
This is demonic nature,
Le pouvoir,
the power,
séparer
separate
les êtres vivants des uns et des autres.
living beings one from another
Et sous couvert,
under cover of being a saint.
c'est une telle duplicité.
That's such a duplicity.
Les innocents tombent dedans.
The innocent fall inside of
Et
this.
malheureusement, ils
And
développent la même mentalité.
Unfortunately, they develop the same
Avec cette
mentality. With
cette
this
mentalité
mentality,
qui n'est pas divine, on peut pas
which is
être
not
avec
divine, we can't know the
Parce
Supreme
que
Lord.
lorsqu'on chante
Because
avec la
when
foi,
one chants
et
with
qu'on peut
faith
avoir un aperçu de son
and
royaume,
can have
y a pas
a
tout ça.
glimpse of his
Donc,
kingdom,
quand on a un aperçu,
there's not all those things.
alors on n'est
So
pas
when one
perturbé par
has
ces gens.
a glimpse,
On
then
n'entre pas
he is
dans
not
leur jeu,
disturbed by those people and do not enter in their game
leur illusion.
and stay far from their illusion
Et on a le bon respect.
and has the good respect.
Sans ça, il n'y a pas de dévotion.
Otherwise, there's no devotion.
Il y a deux natures.
There's two natures,
Vous identifiez un dévot et en même temps un démon.
identified as a devotee and at the same time as a demon.
Le dévot,
The devotee
il a de l'amour pour tous les gens.
has love for all the living beings.
Il ne fait pas de séparation.
He doesn't make
Il
separation.
voit simplement engager des êtres
He simply engages
dans la
beings
miséricorde du
in
Seigneur.
the mercy of the Lord.
Et la nature démoniaque,
A
elle parle.
demonic nature doesn't enable someone to do this, and it makes separation, politic, war,
Et elle peut même tuer les
and
gens.
even can kill people in
Je
the
me
name
rappelle
of
de
God.
cette vidéo que j'avais
I
vue
remember
avec des djihadistes
this
qui jouent au football
video
avec une
of
tête de chrétien.
jihadists. They were playing football
On va
with
aller dans
the head of a Christian
Ils faisaient du football
in
avec une tête.
inside a sheet bed. And so
Ça peut aller jusqu'à
they were playing football with it. It can go until they burn people,
inventer des sarcophages avec des
invent like
pour que le sang s'écoule
box with
doucement, pour que
pigs
le péché
for the blood
s'écoule doucement.
to
Ça peut aller jusqu'à
pig,
ça existait.
and for the blood to flow slowly and the people to die slowly. That's it existed. It's the demonic nature.
Il y a une apparence de bonté.
There's an appearance
Si
of
vous partagez pas leurs idées,
goodness,
vous
but if you
percevez
do not share their ideas,
pourquoi
you
le
perceive their
dévot du
nature.
Seigneur,
That's
il est
why
ami depuis les-
the devotee of the Lord is the friend of all the living beings, and he
On doit pas être
respects them.
que cette nature
And we
démoniaque
should not be nature that
c'est
this
normal.
demonic nature exists in beings. It's normal.
Il
That's
existe
why
la tolérance.
the tolerance exists.
On doit tolérer.
We must
Qu'est-ce
tolerate.
que ça veut dire la tolérance?
What
C'est
does
pas
it
parce que
mean?
quelqu'un vous attaque que vous devez développer la même mentalité.
It's not because someone attacks you that you have to develop the same state
Au
of
début,
mind.
c'est inévitable.
At first, it's
Quand vous entendez
unavoidable.
une critique,
When you hear you
la
criticize,
nature
demonic nature will appear again. Ah, he criticizes me. and you
Mais plus
avenge.
la nature divine
But the more
prend
the divine
possession de l'être
nature
vivant,
takes
plus il
possession of the
comprend que c'est
living being,
normal.
the more he understands it's
C'est comme
normal.
une miséricorde.
And it's like a mercy.
Quand cette nature, elle apparaît à travers les autres, et
When
qu'elle
this
veut vous faire
nature
du mal,
appears
alors
through others and wants to
vous voyez la
hurt you,
miséricorde du Seigneur.
then you
Pour
see
vous
the
faire
mercy
encore
of the
plus
Lord
développer les qualités
to make you
divines.
develop even
C'est
more
quelque chose qui est
divine
merveilleux.
qualities. It's something wonderful.
Jésus disait, aimez
Jesus
vos
said,
ennemis. C'est la
love your
nature divine.
enemies. It's the divine nature.
C'est pourquoi
That's why
tous les êtres qui appartiennent à
all
une
living
voie
beings
qui vient du
that
Seigneur,
belong
ils
to a
devraient
path
avoir ce respect
coming
et
from the Lord, they
pour
should have
comprendre les autres.
this respect toward others and
Pourquoi ils se
understand
comprennent
others.
pas,
So why do not
s'acceptent pas, ils se
understand
fâchent
each
les
other?
uns contre les autres.
They are
Ils n'arrêtent pas. C'est là.
just
Sur
quarreling with
Internet,
the one with
partout, c'est
another.
constamment comme
It's
ça. C'est parce que,
constantly
en fait,
like
cette
this on
nature
internet
démoniaque,
everywhere because there's this
ils ne peuvent pas s'en
demonic nature.
débarrasser.
They can't get rid of it.
Pour ça, il faut
That's
chanter.
why we have to chant purely.
Dans les autres âges,
In the
Satya
other
Yuga, c'était la
ages,
méditation.
Satya Yuga, it was meditation.
Ils vivaient 100 000 ans.
They were living 100,000 years.
Ils
They were
pouvaient
pure.
méditer, même
They
sans
could
boire,
meditate
sans manger,
without
même
drinking,
sous l'eau,
eating underwater.
ils étaient purs.
They were pure.
Après,
After
Treta Yuga,
Treta Yuga,
on adorait le Seigneur à travers les sacrifices.
the Lord was worshipped through
Dwapara
sacrifices,
Yuga, à travers
Dvapara,
l'action de la déité.
through the worshipping of the deity.
Et dans l'âge de
And in
Kali,
the Kali Yuga,
la déité reste
the deity is
Mais-
still here, but
avec la prédominance,
with
Sur le
predominance of chanting the holy names.
et c'est le chant de
And
Saint
this
qui
chanting
donne la réalisation.
gives realization of the Supreme Lord.
Pourquoi?
Why?
Parce que le Seigneur
Because
se
the
révèle
Lord
selon
is
la
revealed
qualification des
according
êtres.
to the
Les
qualification
êtres
of the
dans la
beings.
Kali n'ont aucune
And
qualification.
in the Kali Yugas, living beings have no qualification.
Ils ont ces deux natures.
They have both
qui les
those
perturbent
two
tout le
nature
temps.
in them that always
Ils
disturbs
sont
them.
envieux du Seigneur.
They have envy
Envieux
toward
des
the Supreme
dévotions.
Lord, towards the devotees. It's a
Et donc,
reality.
en chantant le nom,
So while chanting
dans la compagnie des dévots,
the name in the
la
company of the
véritable
devotee
nature du nom, à travers
and
la
to
connaissance
understand
spirituelle,
the real
alors
nature
on
of the
peut
name, then we can
complètement, avec le
completely,
temps,
with
ça prend
time.
du temps.
It takes time.
Je vais prendre un
I
exemple.
will take an
On
example.
dit, dis-moi qui tu fréquentes, je te dirai qui tu
We
es.
say, tell
Donc la
me
mauvaise association
who you
graduellement
spend
vous
time
détruit,
with, and I will
et la
tell
bonne
you who
association
you are.
graduellement
So
vous
the bad
construit. Et
association
maintenant, vous chantez le nom
destroys
du
us,
Seigneur, c'est pareil.
and the good
Graduellement,
association,
en fait, le
it
nom,
helps us.
il va
And in the
agir.
same way, if you associate
comme
with
une
the
association
name of the
merveilleuse.
Supreme Lord, it's
Et à
like
un
a
moment,
wonderful
alors vous pouvez
association, and
complètement prendre
at
refuge
some
en lui et
point,
devenir pur.
you can completely become pure. Purity
Parce qu'on
exists
peut devenir libéré.
because we can become liberated because we
De
are
la
the
même
soul.
manière
In the same way
que le froid rend l'eau,
that the cold
quand la chaleur se
makes the
manifeste,
water
l'eau redevient
hard,
liquide.
then
Ça, c'est sa nature
when the
naturelle.
heat
Et
comes
ben, de la
back,
même
the
manière,
water
hein,
becomes liquid because it's its real nature. And in the same way, Krishna,
lorsqu'on chante le Saint
when
nom,
we chant the holy name,
c'est comme le soleil
it's like the sun,
et l'obscurité disparaît.
and the
Et quand le
darkness
soleil, il reste
disappears.
plus que le soleil,
And when
alors
there's
l'état de
only the
pureté
sun,
revient. Donc c'est
this
possible.
state of
Mais il faut
purity
être très sincère.
comes back, but we have to be
Vraiment
really
sincère.
sincere.
Et pour ça, il faut
And for
devenir le
this,
serviteur
we have to become the servant
et pas faire ce que l'on veut.
and not make whatever
Et
we
ça commence
want.
par
And
prendre
it starts
refuge,
by
hein,
taking
un
shelter
Vaishnava,
of a Vaishnava
et d'écouter ses
and
instructions.
listen to his instructions.
Le disciple
The
qui n'a pas
disciple
cette nature,
who does
hein,
not
il
have
interprète
this
toujours. Il fait
humble
jamais
nature
ce qu'il
always
faut simplement
interprets
ce qu'il a envie de
and
faire. Ils ont un
never
désir,
does
ils ont une
what the
illumination,
Vaishnava
bien sûr.
wants them
Mais
to do.
jamais ils sont
They
sur
have
le refuge.
desires, illumination,
Que
but
quelqu'un qui
they
va
do
leur
not have this
permettre
shelter,
de
taken
suivre les
this shelter
instructions et de devenir
of someone
cher au Seigneur ensuite.
who will
On doit
guide them
comprendre
to
que
become
la
dear to
nature
the
du
Supreme
Seigneur,
Lord.
c'est qu'on devienne
And we
le
have to
dévot
understand that
de son dévot.
the nature of the Lord
On a dit pour
that
Krishna
is
dit,
that he wants us to
celui
become the
qui
devotee of his
se
devotee.
pense
In the Adi Purana,
véritablement mon
he,
dévot, il
he
n'est pas
says,
véritablement mon dévot.
the one who thinks
Mais
he's
celui qui est
directly
le
my
dévot de mon
devotee is
dévot,
not really my
ça veut
devotee,
dire
but
suivre les
the
instructions.
one who is the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. It means follow my instructions.
Et en fait, dans
And
l'instruction,
actually, in the instruction,
on trouve la libération.
we find liberation.
Parce que lorsqu'on
Because
on
when
suit l'instruction
we
d'un
follow
Vaishnava,
instruction
le
of a
Seigneur nous
Vaishnav,
suit.
the Lord follows us.
Il se révèle
He
en
reveals
fonction
himself
on accepte
according
l'instruction.
to
Donc,
the
c'est
degree
pas
of
évident d'être un
acceptance
Vaishnava.
of the instruction. So
Parce
it's
qu'on
not
veut tout
easy to be a
interpréter.
Vaishnav because
On
we
interprète toujours tout.
always want to
Et puis
interpret everything,
même si
and
on a
even
tort,
if we are
on va
wrong,
sortir tellement d'arguments.
we will
Tellement
say
d'arguments.
so
Oui, mais
many
tu
things
comprends,
to
c'est là, c'est comme
defend
ça,
ourselves.
ça
You
doit être
understand
ça,
it's like this, it's
oui,
like
ok,
that.
pas de problème.
And the Guru says, oh, okay, no problem.
On va rien faire.
We can't do anything.
Mais celui-là, il ne peut pas méditer.
But this one can't meditate in
Il
his
peut avoir
reality.
quelques expériences,
He can
bien
have
sûr.
some
Si
experience
Krishna est miséricordieux.
because
Mais
Krishna
la
is
pleine
merciful,
expérience,
but the full
elle est
experience
obtenue
is obtained
par cette forme d'abandon.
by this kind of surrender. It's really rare,
Super.
very rare.
Tout le monde veut faire
Everybody
ce qu'il veut.
wants to
C'est la
do
dépendance.
whatever he wants. That's independence. That's
C'est le principe de la
the
nature.
principle of
Parce que dans le
demonic
monde
nature,
transcendantal,
because in the
il y a pas cette
transcendental
forme
world,
d'indépendance.
there's not this kind of
On
independence.
accepte notre
We accept
indépendance
our independence
dans le fait de se
in the
donner.
fact of giving
C'est la
ourselves.
seule indépendance.
That's the only independence we have in the transcendental world, because everything is wonderful. Love is unlimited, beauty is unlimited, so we can have free will like
Ceux
this.
qui pensent qu'on a un libre arbitre mauvais,
Those
c'est
who
parce qu'ils vont
think
pas expérimenter
we have
le
a
match.
bad free will
C'est
is because
impossible. Il n'y a pas de défaut.
they did
Le
not
Seigneur,
experience
il dit,
right.
il est là, comment on pourrait
There's no
penser
flaws,
quelque
it's
chose
impossible. The Lord is unlimited in beauty.
C'est
We are
des
simply
océans,
absorbed.
des
It's
désordres,
oceans of mercy, of beauty.
Comment on peut avoir une pensée
How could we have another thought than this?
C'est du délire.
It's like nonsense.
Ça, c'est parce que
This is
Prem n'a pas
because
été expérimenté.
Prem has not been experimented.
C'est pourquoi,
That's why
parfois, des conceptions
sometimes conception
et c'est inévitable.
appear and that's unavoidable.
Parce que l'expérience de Prem
Because
est
the
très
experience of Prem is very
rare.
rare. It's really rare.
Et surtout, ceux qui
And
expérimentent
most of all,
des associés éternels.
those
Extrêmement rare.
who the thing the eternal associate experience is very rare
Parce qu'ils ont cette expérience
because they have this experience
éternelle
eternal
de cette réalité.
of this
Donc
reality,
ils peuvent comprendre
so they can
à
understand
quel point Krishna est
how
facile.
much Krishna is
Krishna, il
attractive.
se fascine lui-même.
He's so fascinating that
Quand il se voit, il se fascine lui-même
he's
dans le reflet.
attracted by himself when he sees himself in the
Le Seigneur
reflection.
lui-même devient fasciné.
The Lord himself is amazed by
Et il pense
himself,
comment je pourrais goûter
and he
ça.
thinks, how could I taste this beauty? Who is he? He's so
Il devient
wonderful.
complètement absorbé.
He's completely absorbted in an unlimited way. How could we think of any other thing? Thank you very much.